Oh, that your second one? Oh my goodness, it was just so beautiful. I didn't realize. Good morning. Welcome to Unity Spiritual Center of Lansing. I'm Reverend Sharon Ketchum, and I'd also like to invite our online guest to welcome you to this morning's service too. A couple things to go over as we welcome everybody here. We're doing everything we can to stay as safe as possible. So some of us are gathering together, wearing masks and staying socially distanced, plus we have the air exchange unit on. And some of you are staying at home, doing your own safety thing there. So it's lots of ways we can come together. I want to tell you that the coffee bar is open, so please help yourself to a cup of coffee. And when you're seated at the tables, you can certainly take your mask off to drink. During this time of so many new things, as we're moving into this building and also during the pandemic, we really need to hear from you what it is that you need at this time, whether it's about safety, whether it's about how the building's being used, whether it's personal needs that you might have. We really need to communicate about that so we know we're all going through this together for the first time and hopefully the last time ever. So let's talk and communicate. You can use the connection cards on the table. There's also those little note cards there that you can use if you have any notes, needs, or questions. So what I need right now is a little affirmative prayer of wholeness. So I invite you to join with me as we affirm for each of us. In this moment, we bless the miraculous workings of our bodies. Conceived in divine mind, our bodies sparkle with health and vitality. We lay claim to our physical strength and resilience as we adopt practices to maintain and grow our health. Every day we are guided to make choices and take actions that support the natural wholeness of our physical being. And so it is. Amen. Everybody feeling strong, healthy, and vital now. Unity's mission is to spiritually awaken to our oneness with God, each other, and all creation. And it comes out of our vision statement, where we see a world powerfully transformed through a growing movement of a shared spirituality. Shared being the important word, that it's not about finding the right and perfect answer, but it's about honoring ourselves and each other, whatever path we're on and wherever we are on that path. So I like to begin service with an ecumenical prayer. I invite you to join with me as we affirm. The enlightenment of the Buddha shines within us. The compassion of the Christ moves through us. The power of Jehovah strengthens and guards us. The presence of Allah surrounds and guides us. Wherever we are, the Tao is, and all is God. And knowing that all is God, we're just going to concentrate to synchronizing our consciousness as we move into a time of prayer. We're going to set up that synchronization through this music, our thoughts, our prayers.
Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Take charge of what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness. And know that God is always there. And every thought becomes a prayer.
We like to hold our neighbors in prayer, knowing our neighbors include everybody that shares this beautiful planet with us. And how I was pondering this morning how the headlines about some things have died down, which part of me makes me think that it's over and people are recovered. But in truth, they're still in the midst of it, whether it's from the floodwaters that have hit different parts of the United States, the fires, the people in Afghanistan going through their change of government, the people in Haiti still in recovery, just all those people that they may not be in the headlines anymore, but they are still in the midst of what is happening. So as we open our hearts today, let us affirm. We pray with understanding and compassion in our hearts, knowing divine light shines even in the darkest moments. We bless the continued work of the world's essential workers and all those devoted to serving others in times of need. We bless those in grief, whatever their loss, knowing God is their strength. We lift our gaze to remember our shared humanity, our unity of spirit. Centered in God's divine presence within, we know the truth for each person in our world neighborhood. We are guided by wisdom arising in love as we act in ways that foster peace and wholeness for all. And so it is. Amen. And let's bring the prayer on home to us here at Unity Spiritual Center as we affirm together. Each of us, as a Unity Spiritual Center community, embrace our journey of spiritual growth. We are collectively emerging as a greater expression of love, a force for good in our neighborhood. We invest in emanating peace and harmony through unrelentless kindness to ourselves and others. Hand in hand, heart to heart, we delight in co-creating a beloved community. And so it is. Allah, Shalom, Amen, Namaste. I would like to take a little time to bless some people here that have been doing some incredible work. So Jerry, Craig, Marilyn, Karen, I don't see Peggy and Nate here this morning. If you'd like to come forward, they have, come on up so we can love you up. Back in May, we planted 114 plants and through the course of time, 13 trees. And these folks have been diligently watering them. So, yeah. Okay, so what I have is, you guys are so sweet. You want to pass it around, take one. I have some Fabiano's chocolates for you. And and Kathy Asif. Kathy's not here this morning either. No, one's for Kathy. Okay, you can pay. So we have a little unity blessing we do, and I didn't put it up on the slide, but if you just want to hold up your hands, because I will tell you we only had one casualty out of all those plants, and it was because of a tree that was keeping the water off it. So we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, we behold the Christ in you, empowering you in all things. Thank you so much. Round of applause. I'll never forget the day when, just as they were finishing planting, and I thought, oh my goodness, we have to find a way to water those because they were way out on the property where there was no water. So that was great. So at the table, I'm going to give you a little question to take a minute to think about. What do you resist the most? What is the thing that you most resist? Maxine, you can always talk to somebody behind you if you want, or you can just talk to yourself. That's okay. Or Linda, you can talk to yourself over there. Okay. What do you resist the most? Take about a minute of that. You at home, think about, what do you resist? Resist winter coming? Right. Resist chocolate? I'm going to, this is so good. Okay. This is good.
So I did hit the button, and what it does is it briefly lights up red to show you that only the forward and back, are working. If you want to, it's that bottom one. Yeah, that's it. So now just the directional ones will work.
Wonderful.
You gotta protect yourself from yourself.
There you go. Well, we start a little music here. You can just join in as you finish up your conversations at the table.
Take a look at the person next to you.
Take a look at the person next to you.
Say, God loves you and I love you too.
God loves you and I love you too.
Now feel the love in the sanctuary.
Feel the love in the sanctuary.
Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the God in you.
I recognize the God in you. Wow.
Now feel the love in the sanctuary.
Feel the love in the sanctuary.
Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together.
the person next to you.
Say namaste, I bow to you.
Namaste, I bow to you.
Now feel the love in the sanctuary.
Feel the love in the sanctuary.
Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love.
Good morning. I'm Lee Nelson, your platform assistant for today. Today's daily word is let go and let God. Inspired by the 86th Psalm, teach me your way, God, that I may walk in our truth. Give me an undivided heart to revere your name. If we feel unsure of the next step in any situation, we let go and let God. We do not walk away from difficulty or try to force resolutions. Instead, we release our tight mental grip on problems and open ourselves to solutions. We let go of our ego's desire for control and our need to bring about specific outcomes. We believe there are solutions and remedies beyond what our minds can conceive. We yield to possibility. We trust the indwelling divine presence just as we would trust a mentor. Letting go and letting God means creating space for that dynamic, creative energy of spirit to inspire and surprise us. Divine love, wisdom, and understanding fuel our thoughts, express through our words, and guide us in all ways. Let us affirm together. Divine love, wisdom, and understanding express through me. Each month, we focus on one of Unity Spiritual Center of Lansing's core values. This month, we are looking at our core value of inclusiveness. We know the truth that each and every person is a unique expression of God. We strive to be a community that is authentically welcome and inclusive. As we awaken spiritually, we come to know that it enriches our lives to not only live in a richly diverse community, but to also consciously work to ensure it is a safe, inclusive community where the intrinsic worth of each person is valued and honored. There is no stranger, only parts of us that we do not yet know. Let us affirm together. We embrace all people as expressions of God. Our Sunday service are hybrid experiences available to you both on location and online, whatever works for you. Live streaming and recordings of the service on our website and on YouTube. We are offering a variety of small group classes online and in person and hybrid. Information on these can be found at our new activity stand located by the entry door. Details can also be found on our website, unitylansing.org, and our weekly e-news. Our prayer ministry team continues to be active and available to hold you and your loved ones in prayer. Prayer requests can be placed in the prayer box in our lobby or electronically through the website or with a phone call to the church. SALT is our Sunday adult learning time and meets at 9:30 each Sunday in the activity room off of the sanctuary. Next week at SALT, Dan Maynard, facilitator of A Course in Miracles, and Lucille Olson, facilitator of A Course in Love, will discuss the different approaches of these two powerful courses. There is no charge, but love offerings are welcome to support the facilitators. The Lunch Bunch is a social group that is open to everyone. They meet the first Friday of the month at a local restaurant. This Friday, we are meeting at the Coral Gables at 1 p.m. It is helpful to contact Nancy Clater or the church office so we can reserve enough seats. But if you become free at the last minute, drop-ins are always welcome. For those of you unfamiliar with the Course in Miracles, Carol Maynard is offering a 4-week introductory course to familiarize you with the basic concepts. The class will meet on location at Unity in the activity room on Monday evenings from 7 to 8:30, starting October the 11th. We are having a grand opening celebration for the public in October. October 1st is our formal ribbon cutting, and that is at 3 p.m. And October 9th is open house, which includes tours, free food, and the Phoenix Rising concert. That is also at 3, the Rising concert, but you can start coming at 2 for the tours. We will complete festivities October the 10th with a Sunday service celebrating friendship. Plan now to join us and be starting inviting your friends to join for Friendship Sunday. And in order to make our official grand opening and celebration event a great success, Kay Batterson is heading up an outreach team to put specially made door hangers on the doors of our neighbors. Kay, would you like to come up and tell people about it?
Good morning. As you know, we're a very warm, welcoming, and inclusive group of people. And as such, we also believe that we are a force for good within our community and within our neighborhoods. And our grand opening is a wonderful opportunity for us to spread the word to our neighbors within the surrounding area about all the wonderful things that Unity does offer. So what we have done, you've got a clipboard that's surrounding the tables, and you have an opportunity to sign up. We have designed these door hangers, and they're going to go out to anywhere, well, we have 1,000 of them. So we've targeted the areas closest around the church, and we'll go out and we'll put these on the hangers. And what they are is the information that you should see on your table that says you are invited. It gives our grand opening information. It talks about, that they're invited for the concert. It gives all the information on a grand opening. So we want to encourage people to come to as many things as they can. As we get a chance to expand the awareness of Unity here within our new home geography. I've got to tell you, I had an opportunity to go around and walk through all the neighborhoods as we laid out the trails that we're going to be handing out our Freedom Flyers in. And it was so exciting because there's so much building going on around here. I just couldn't believe when I got out back in some of these neighborhoods. I mean, it's really fun, and I think you would really enjoy it. We're going to have great weather this week. The walking times are from 1 to 3, or 10 to 12 in the morning, and 1 to 3 every day. So Monday through Friday, and then 10 to 12 on Saturday. So I'll be here every day, and you can work as many shifts as you'd like, and we're going to need as much help as we can get. Also, if you can't walk it, if some of you have walking difficulties, we do need drivers, because there's times when we're walking down long streets. Someone can, pick us up at the end and take us to our next street. So if you have any questions, please ask me about it, but I'm looking forward to you all signing up. Anyway, otherwise I'll be calling you. Thanks.
Thank you, Kay. All of our events are possible because of people like you who step forward to collectively make them happen. We now have an activity table on the south dance floor which lists our teams, what they do, and how to connect. Please stop by and consider how you might become involved. And now I'd like to invite Linda Abar to share some inspirational music with us.
Hi, everyone. Hi. I'm going to sing Colors of the Wind from Pocahontas because I felt it was apropos. You think you own whatever land you land on. The earth is just a dead thing you can claim. But I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name. You think the only people who are people are the people who look and think like you. But if you walk the footsteps of a stranger, you'll learn things you never knew, you never knew. Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon? Or asked the grinning bodcap why he grinned? Can you sing with all the voices of a mountain? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Come run the hidden pine trails of the forest. Come taste the sun-sweet berries of the earth. Come roll in all the riches all around you. And for once, never wonder what they're worth. The river and the rainstorms are my brothers. The heron and the otter are my friends. And we are all connected to each other in a circle, in a hoop that never ends. How high does a sycamore grow? If you cut it down, then you'll never know. And you'll never hear the wolf cry to the blue corn moon. For whether we are white or copper skinned, can you sing with all the voices of a mountain? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? You can own the earth and still all you'll own is earth until you can paint with all the colors of the wind.
Yeah.
Thank you. Unity Band.
Linda, what a perfect song for the first Sunday of autumn 2021. The colors will be coming very, very soon. In fact, you can tell it's fall. On the way to church this morning, I'm driving down Martin Luther King, and what passes in front of me but 3 deer crossing Martin Luther King. Yeah, it's that time of year. So we've been doing a series inspired by Valerie Kerr's book, See No Stranger. And she throws out this supposition at the beginning of the book that says, what if the darkness of the world, the things that are happening, is not the darkness of a tomb, but the darkness of a womb, where things are being created, being ready to be given birth. And so we began by talking about loving others, and loving others by being this constant state of wonder, of curiosity about others, as a way to keep our heart open and porous. And when it's something that we don't know, to realize that there's simply a part of us that we don't know yet. And then we talked about a little more difficult loving. You know, even Jesus said, love one another. But loving our opponents, sometimes that's a little more difficult. Those that seem like opposition, like we've drawn the circle, and we're the in-group, and then the opposition is the out-group. And talking about to revolutionize any idea of separation, which really is our rage against the others because they don't think like us, whatever, they're not like us, and turn that into love. Not love in the sense of the romantic love, but love that's in the sense of respect and honoring that we all are part of that infinite energy, that one presence. And that we learn to do this through deep and compassionate listening in that field out beyond right and wrong, listening with an open heart, not out of judgment, just to hear the other person. And last week I talked about to really start that listening, and when we listen like that, we risk something, because we risk being changed. As we begin to understand and hear people more, as we learn to be able to hear the oneness in what they're saying, even though it feels like it's in opposition to us, something happens inside of us that changes us. So I want to give you a little food for thought today. Just imagine, these are two really powerful statements that I like. Thich Nhat Hanh said, the moment you are motivated by the desire to return to another and help, you know that all the energy of anger has been transformed in the energy of compassion. That's that change that happens when we really can listen to others, even when they're not in agreement with us. And then Richard Rohr said there are two major tasks to human life. The first is to build a strong container or identity, and the second is to find the contents that container is meant to hold. Isn't that really what we're doing all the time? Who are we, and how do we show up as who we are? How do we be authentic? When I talk about imagine, and today we're talking about imagining and reimagining, of course my mind goes right to the 12 powers. It's one of Unity's concepts that within us, since there's only one power and a presence we call God, understanding that too is part of us, that shows up, what I call kind of God in bite-sized pieces that it's hard to understand the infinite, but we can understand little parts of it. And imagination is one of these divine faculties within us. And Charles Fillmore, in his book, Christian Healing, wrote that we have latent possibilities, that goes without argument, and that there is a limit to the ability of the mind is unthinkable. If there's a limit to the ability of our mind, it's unthinkable. We don't have limitations of what we can imagine. What a person can imagine they can do, they can do. To allow the imagination to drift into daydreams never brings anything to pass. Ideas must be worked up into living, breathing, thinking things. Our imagination is a very powerful creative force within us. So what's our biggest block to imagining the world that we want, the life that we want? What is our biggest block? I think it's the appearance of reality. Like we so can accept this is just the way things are. How many of us have given up on something and said, well, it's just that way. My family's just that way. They're set in their ways. You're not going to change them. The system is just that way. Schools are just that way. But reality is just something that we imagined at one time and co-created. All we have to do is think again. And we know that spirit itself, the idea of spirit, is without limits. It's infinite and it's eternal. The world is what's called temporal. It's ever-changing, but it's limited. And the word temporal is a pretty interesting word, because a temporal means it's from temple to temple. So the temporal world that exists is in this 6 inches. So what we see as it's just the way it is has been made up in here, in these 6 inches from one side of our temple to the other. It's really time to take away that block of the temporal world and really to unleash our imagination, not based on what is, not based on these temporal ideas that have formed us, but based on what can be, what is the potential that's waiting to be called forth. I'm going to take you back in time, back to the decade of the 60s. If you're too young to be at the 60s, you probably have heard stories of the 60s from those of us that were there. It was the age of resistance. We were out protesting. We were doing all kinds of wild and crazy things. We had this language of resistance. You know, the posters had no and stop and don't and, you know, I refuse. And there was all this resistance, this protest to what was going on. You know, last summer the signs weren't much different. We're still in that state of resistance, of protesting of what's going on. What is this block that's keeping us? We can imagine this world if we're saying this needs to change and this is how it can be. What is keeping us from going there? There's an old saying that what we resist persists because we invest energy into it. Mother Teresa said she would never go to a rally that was against anything, but she would go to something that was for something. So instead of anti-war, a pro-peace rally. There is a difference in our thinking. There's a difference on where we invest our energy. And if you think about it, in our everyday lives, how many times do we stall because we're in resistance to what we're being called to co-create? That we are stalled because we see this temporal world saying, I'm not educated enough, I don't have enough power, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough connections, whatever that might be that stalls us out in resistance, getting stuck in the story instead of the creation of the next chapter. A lot of you have probably read Ken Wilber, and when he talked about resistance, he said, if there is some aspect of life that you dislike, there is some aspect of unity consciousness that you are resisting. Unity consciousness, not necessarily this unity, but understanding if we believe there's only one presence, one power, and we are part of it, then what can we possibly think is not us, is not part of the one? It's not one and, it's only one. So there's something within us that we're resisting. Thus, if we actively, even though secretly, deny and resist unity consciousness, whatever we're holding against, we're denying that oneness. The understanding of the secret resistance is the ultimate key to enlightenment. Wow. The understanding of the secret resistance every time we see the other. For until you see precisely how you resist unity consciousness, all your efforts to achieve will be in vain because what you are trying to achieve is also what you are unconsciously resisting and trying to prevent. That's kind of a heavy thought maybe on a Sunday morning. Wow. What you're resisting is what's keeping you from stepping into that new way of being. Now here's something that we so think of as just this is the way it is. In incarceration in the United States, I was shocked, horrified to know that in the land of the free, we have the highest incarceration rate in the world. Do you see that resistance thing? I mean, this is just crazy. How can we say we're free when we incarcerate more people than any other country, even China in the world, right? Countries whose values we think are not as good as ours, they're what we resist, but yet look at what we are doing. Look at what we are doing. In the book, Valerie Kerr goes quite a bit into Guantanamo Bay, that we try to take this part of ourselves and put it out and say that's not under U.S. rule, even though we own it, so that we could do things that were not of American values. And each of us are part of that collective consciousness that incarcerate in prisons, wants to punish the other, as opposed to really good rehabilitation. If there's only one, what part of us is being imprisoned? What part of us is being punished? What part of us is being separated? What part of us is fighting what other part of us? Wow, because it's only one consciousness. We are part of this system in this land of the free that is incarcerating more people than anybody else in the world. You can take a breath on that one. And as I mentioned last week, when they ran that experiment at Harvard years ago, whether you were the prisoner or the guard, you are both the prisoner and the guard. And they have done interviews with guards at these different prisons, and they are having as much of a post-traumatic stress syndrome as the prisoners are that are incarcerated. It's just like when we work on forgiveness. We know forgiveness is not for the other person. That holy unforgiveness is a poison within ourselves. So if we have to be the person practicing the guarding of prisoners, the incarceration, it costs us just as much emotionally and spiritually and even physically as it does the prisoners who are being limited in their freedom. How do we reimagine that? I don't know, but the first step is an awareness that we are part of it. How many other systems within our society we say that's just the way it is, when it really does not hold true to the values of love and peace and harmony and oneness. In nonviolent communication, we talk about when they're people having their needs. What are the needs that are being met? And when you see something that is so large as a societal effort at something, to understand that there's this huge need of our country, of our community, what are the needs that need to be met that are causing us to do these things that are so anti the consciousness of oneness? So Maslow was really great with this cute little pyramid he had, our Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And we know that, our first need, we need to be physically fed and watered. If we don't have air to breathe, if we don't have sustenance for our body, we don't have water, that's it. I mean, we're not even alive. And then once we get that need met, the next one is for safety, to feel safe and secure. Because you can't do anything if you're worried about your own safety. But the next three levels, the levels of belonging and being loved, of esteem, and finally self-actualization, are all about what we need in order to get our dreams met, in order to pursue our dreams, in order to have that freedom to express ourselves, to bring up those abilities that we have, the creative endeavors, the ability to make change, the ability to imagine something that never was before. And to do this, we want support. We want to be in a world of support, whether it's our social support, our educational support, that the environment supports us, that our political and economical conditions really allow us not just to survive, but to thrive. We want to flourish. I cannot help but be astounded by the willows back in the pond there. They don't just survive, they thrive. They talk. In fact, there's even a little romance going on out there. The two sisters on one end are holding hands with Dominion, the big guy here in the front. They've now grown together. They're kind of having a little conversation or a dance there in the wind, the colors of the wind, the willows dancing here. And, Disney came up with this great term for the people that work in that company that create. He calls them Imagineers. And since we know that sometimes our imagination is blocked by this temporal reality that we see, I was thinking about, what about reimagineering? Reimagineers, to reimagine this thing that seems so real to us and unchangeable. Let's take a different look at it. And to reimagine, there's lots of ways we reconstruct it, we recycle it, we redesign it, we recreate, we renew, we revise. We say this may be how it is right now, but that is temporal, it's changeable. And this is our time to reimagine, to be that reimagineer. And there's been a lot of reimagineers that have been in our world that have made changes that still impact us today after hundreds, even thousands of years. Nanak, who's the founder of Sikhism, he sang it. He sang of the wonder, the awe of the wonder of our world. And to this day, the Sikhs practice this wonderful singing of awe and wonder. Mohammed, he led the idea of reimagineering as he talked about monotheism in a time when people were celebrating multiple deities. Jesus taught it. He was a teacher. He was called a rabbi. And he was the unintentional founder of Christianity. He didn't want to find a movement. He imagined people thinking differently. Instead of an eye for an eye or tooth for a tooth, love one another. Huge imagineering of a different way that things could be. Buddha envisioned it. He left behind these paths to enlightenment. How do we refocus? How do we let go of our attachment to the material world so that we can be the greatest expression of love and kindness? Of course, Martin Luther King dreamed it. We all know that speech. I had a dream. I had a dream. And believe me, all of us have a dream. We just sometimes, for some reason, don't step into it. We don't step into it fully. Like Fillmore said, you have to breathe it into living what you imagine. Otherwise, it's just like a daydream that just kind of flitters by. The energy just dissipates. Mother Teresa labored for it. She saw people in need and she helped, even when nobody else was helping. She reimagined how it could be. People didn't have to die alone in the streets. She took them in. Mandela lived it. He was a statesman, a philanthropist, and he kept that vision even when the temporal world put him in prison. He kept the Imagineering. Gandhi died for it. He imagined a different world. He supported India and their freedom, and he died for it. But he reimagined it, and he made a change that goes on today. Made that kind of a change. Valerie Kerr in her book talks about when she goes to Yale Law School. And, students going to school are filled with imagination. They know how it's going to be. They're all excited to make changes in the world. They're pepped up and ready to go. And she gets into law class, and she's going, whoa, this is boring. It feels constraining. I don't like this at all. She just was really having difficulty with it. Her head wouldn't grasp this whole idea of law and all the constrictions they were teaching her. And one of her advisors said to her, protect your imagination while you study the ways of the law. He says you have to understand the law so that you can understand the reasoning behind it. And then once you understand it, watch what is happening to you as you begin to understand these very specific rules. If law is a language of power, don't let it colonize your other ways of knowing, speaking, listening, and reasoning. But she's saying to her, do not let your imagination be constricted, put into that box, to be contained. Understand what's going on around you and use it to your advantage. Let it, just like we can change the idea of rage to one of connection, so too can we take that heady intellectual stuff and bring it into our passion for activism, for imagining how the world can be, how we can help the world be. And she remembered her Papa G saying to her, don't abandon yourself. That whatever we do, not to give up our own authenticity, whatever we do, not to relegate what we know to be true as not being important, of not being of value, of setting it to the back room. It is very similar to the 12 powers that Fillmore talks about. It's about balancing our faculties. Yeah, I did spell that right. I just thought I put facilities up there. Balancing our faculties. A lot of us, when we start in Unity, we pick up a book called Discover Your Power. Discover the Power Within You by Eric Butterworth. It's a wonderful, the first time you read it, it's like this wonderful awakening. The second time you read it, and the third too. But to really get it, that there is a power within us. It's not God and us, but God as us. And Charles Fillmore, he writes about these 12 divine faculties, or the 12 gifts from God. I will apologize for him because of his time. He said the 12 powers of man, but when he said man, he meant mankind, humankind, I would say. Now, when we have these faculties within us, we're born with, and nothing we have to achieve, but what we do have to do is balance them. Because these powers within us can be underbalanced or overbalanced. Think of strength. We could be weak if we haven't developed it enough, and if we're overstrong, somebody that's muscle bound, we can be that too. We can just be that bull in the china shop that is overly strong in what we do. So the power of the spoken word, this is one of the 12 faculties for us, the power of the spoken word. The word itself has a power that could either harm or it can help. The universe is non-judgmental. It is our support for this energy going out there. So that's why we sing, every thought is a prayer. Our words have this energy to co-create in our world, to watch what it is that comes out of your mouth. Last week I mentioned about, Jesus said, get it. It's not out here that defiles you. It's what comes out of here that defiles you. Imagination, the creative ability of thought. There is not a parent alive that is not set up at midnight and their child is not home yet, and their imagination is going to all the awfuls, right? All of us have had those times where we allow our imagination to go down that road of exactly what we don't want. But as we develop that faculty of imagination, we get to refocus, to watch the words that we speak, the words that we think, to create what it is that we do want in our world. So it's really about doing some self-exploration, kind of see where our faculties are, and ways to do that, real simple ways. What are we grateful for? I was really grateful to see the blue heron sitting out there in our pond this morning. What changes are you ready to make to not abandon yourself? What are you doing today that is not true to you, not true to what you want to do, that you really have to leave, your heart and your passion behind in order to do it? Basically, what are you putting in that container? If one of our jobs is to create that container of our own self-identity, the second is to decide what we put into it. What are we putting in our container? Is it what we want in our container? Is it what we want in our life? One of the biggest things to put in that container, I think, is learning to love others, especially our opponents, because not only is that a part that we're resisting, but when we can bring that circle to include those that think differently than us, we are creating an audience to hear us into being. We are creating an audience to hear us into being. Have you ever noticed when you say something out loud to somebody else, all of a sudden you hear it differently? It felt a lot better when I was thinking it than when I spoke it. Right? So when you have somebody there listening, especially somebody that's not just going to root you all the way no matter what it is, those opponents can really help us hear us into being our authentic self. When we can stop resisting, instead finding where our passion is going to take us, what happens is we open the door to really new opportunities to reimagine, be great reimagineers. So a little self-exam. Think about, when did you feel most at home in your body, at home, and in the world? And what was it that made you feel that way? What was it? If you start becoming aware and asking yourself these self-questions, this is an amazing connection that happens with yourself, with others, and with spirit. Basically what happens is you create beloved community because you're in a beloved community, because that's what you have called it. When you bring everybody in, that is a beloved community. It's about seeing no strangers, just parts of us that are yet undiscovered. So with that, we're going to take some time in meditation. I invite Greg up to lead you in the song and bring the band back up as you ponder these very deep thoughts.
I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. And I am stronger every moment, every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and let spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and true and free. As I continue walking in this mystery.
I invite you to close your eyes if it's comfortable for you. And to allow yourself to be comfortable in your body. Taking a few deep breaths and just relaxing. The chair is so happy to support you. To allow yourself to be relaxed in the world. This is a place that you belong. This is a place where you are a force of good. As we allow our minds to calm into this perfectly divine moment, allow the words that I speak now to be the words of your very own heart. Infinite presence. Today I align with the goodness of life. Open my compassionate heart and allow the love of God to find its way to those in need. I recognize my union with all persons, and let this felt connection move me to embrace, give, and act in ways of kindness. We allow to come to our minds any person, situation, or condition that we might resist. With that full intention and knowing that this is a temporal condition. And we have the ability to transform it. And so we greet this person, this situation, this condition, with the soulful words that you are a part of me I do not yet know. I stop resisting and start creating. As you breathe deeply, feeling that ability, that power as part of the container that is us. And feeling that great freedom as we let go of resisting. A great freedom that lifts up our spirits, lifts up our hearts, brings a joy to our innermost self. There is nothing to resist. Only that which is a need calling to be met in the most loving, most compassionate, most extraordinary way. And as your heart speaks to you, it says, I lighten up. I follow the divine tenet. If thine eyes have a twinkle in it, the whole body is filled with light. I do not take myself so seriously, knowing that my frisky outlook aligns me with God's delight. And fun, laughter, and brilliance are before me. I am at ease with life, centered in divine play, as I become a reimagineer extraordinaire. And so it is. Amen.
There may be walls, there may be roadblocks in my way, but I can choose to take a higher path each day. And now I know that what I thought was safe and sound was only habit and regret that kept me down.
Thank you, Greg. So, spiritual practice for the week. Be a reimagineer. Find what you're resisting and let it become an opportunity for you to move through. You got the power to do it. And now I have the power to invite Linda back up to share something that I've been dancing with for the last couple weeks about that field out there beyond right and wrong. I love the synchronicity.
This is a tune it's a Rumi poem, and I can't remember what it's called, sorry. But I wrote music to this for a Montessori class for them to sing because they needed something simple. And I've found it very useful when I have someone who won't kind of play fair or play at all back with me. So I imagine even maybe our souls or spirits going somewhere where we can communicate and just be. So here it is. There is a field beyond right and wrong. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. There is a field beyond right and wrong. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in the grass, the world's too full to talk about. Ideas and language and calling you other makes no sense. There is a field beyond right and wrong. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. There is a field beyond right and wrong. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. Out beyond the ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is far too full to talk about. Ideas and language, even the phrase each other, makes no sense. There is a field beyond right and wrong. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. There is a field beyond right and wrong. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. There is a field beyond right and wrong. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. There is a field beyond right and wrong. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. Thank you.
This is a time during our Sunday service when we engage in the sacred practice of generosity. We take a moment to feel deep appreciation for the love, the kindness, and the support that blessed each of our individual lives. As a community, we enthusiastically express gratitude to everyone who has continued to support unity through the most unusual time. It is because of our financial gifts and love offerings at the tremendous work of our teams of volunteers that this ministry continues to thrive. Our circle of generosity includes an act of gratitude for these many gifts as we share our gifts with others. As a community, we have chosen to share our gifts with Christos Rey this quarter for the blessings their work brings to our community. Let us take a moment to immerse ourselves in deepest gratitude by singing I Am So Blessed.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful grateful. I am so blessed.
Generosity is a sacred exchange of giving and receiving. Because we are so blessed, it is with joy and enthusiasm that we as individuals share our many blessings to complete the circle. Some of us prefer to share with unity through gifts made online or through mail. Others of us prefer to make our sacred exchange at service. You can use the envelopes in the sunflower basket, and when you are complete with blessing it, place it in the glass container on the table. These envelopes will be safely collected by our ushers following the close of service. Let us celebrate the circle of prosperity by affirming together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive. I praise, give thanks, and am glad. Let's join together in our closing song, I Choose Love, followed by the prayer of protection.
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one tie that binds us, it can't be undone. I choose love. Peace on the planet is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One choice unites us. Let this be the one. I choose love. I choose love. We choose love. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God is within us. Wherever we are, God